From WCRS Studios in Greenwood, South Carolina, this is Meet Me at the Diner with your host, Ann Eller.
Here I have been talking and nobody has heard me because I forgot to turn myself on. So here we go. I have my very special guest here today, Justin Atkin. He is an artist. He is an entrepreneur, and he is sitting right here with me this afternoon. He is, he owns the Fiddle and the Bow. He's been written up in the Index Journal, the Soul Magazine, and I have told when he's been having events up there at the Fiddle and Bow. I hope you've been up there to see him in Honea. He also has on his walls all kinds of art, country folk art, and he does a lot of that himself. He also mills grits, sews the bags, and does it all. He is a Renaissance man. As I said, I think he even goes down the Saluda. So without further ado, how you doing this afternoon, Justin?
Good. Glad to be here, Ann.
Well, we are glad to have you here. Let me tell you, this is going to be an experience this afternoon. I got to admit, I think you're a colorful guy.
I hear you. I've been called worse.
You've been called worse.
Yeah.
I doubt if you've been called worse. I think it's great. You know, there aren't many people that I know in the world today who are what you really consider a Renaissance person, you know, that do all these different things. So to have this opportunity, I met you when you had Marty Haggard coming.
That's right.
That was a great experience.
Yeah, Marty was great.
He was great, and of course the beauty of your place, I think, is number one, it's a small venue, about 150?
Yeah, 115. So
115?
At the max, yeah.
115. So when you get a seat there, there's not a bad seat in the house.
That was what I tell people all the time. People ain't never been, they'll ask, and I say it don't matter, just come on. I promise anywhere you sit will be good. So.
And it's very intimate,
right.
Very intimate with whoever is playing by design.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what was that building?
That was Bannister's grocery store. So it was open, a century ago, and it's been closed for about 50 years. When I got the building was falling in and didn't even have a back door on it. So it was I tried to keep as much of it as original. I was able to restore a lot of it back and keep a lot of it original. And
what did you find on the wall? You found something on the wall?
There was an old advertisement from under the plaster, and so it's New York Bargain House from the clothing store, which was also owned by the Bannisters. That was a prominent family in Honey Path. A lot of them still in Honey Path, but yeah, so it was a pretty cool advertisement that I kept on the wall there that you can see from the bygone era there when the train used to pull up and they'd have New York fashions, pocketbooks and purses and suitcases and clothes for women, and they'd be waiting for them to bring them off the train and sell them at Bannister. So they actually own 4 buildings down right there on the end. And
Wow.
so and so the grocery store was actually got a guy that does we do a free bluegrass jam on Tuesday night, and I knew a guy, one of my guys that helps me. He's telling me stories about it and stuff, and even the daughter of the man that owned Bannisters, she said they used to take stuff and deliver it to people's house, and if they wasn't there, they'd go in and leave their change on they'd pick their money up off the counter and leave the change and leave their little groceries there, and
It was a different world.
Different world, yeah. So her daddy ain't ran it until he wasn't able to no more, and then it closed down. So he was, but it was a cool little place. It sounded like. So a lot of people in Honea have memories of Bannister's Grocery. So
wow.
So the only second thing that's ever been in there. So that was it. So it was Bannister's Grocery and us. So.
Wow. Well, that's what makes it so neat, and I understand that back when you had to redo this, you got a lot of help from friends and everything.
Yeah. A lot of friends come out, and I called on a lot of favors, and a lot of I got a lot of them friends that can do about everything. So one of my buddies helped me with the HVAC, and he's the HVAC guy, and one of my electrician's friends. He done a lot of electrical work with me and for me, and so everybody kind of pitched in and. Had one plumbing with me, and so we just did it piece by piece till we got it done.
How long did it take you to put it together from the time that you made the deal?
I worked on it. So I started, I acquired the building, and I started, and COVID hit right when I started. Everything went through the roof. They couldn't do the gathering, so I just stopped. So waited that out, and then I started back, and I said I got to get this going. I'm ready, so once I got ready, it took me 6-7 months to,
not that bad.
Yeah, it wasn't.
But what gave you the idea to do something like this?
I've always wanted to do something like that. I've loved traditional country music all my life. My mama, she used to rock me in the rocking chair to singing me Loretta Lynn and Tammy Wynette songs, and just country music was just always a big part of my life growing up, and so I just always loved music. And even when they would take me, my mother and father would take me to country music concerts when I was little, and then when I finally got able to drive, that was my main source of entertainment. I'd drive all over. The day I graduated high school, 3 days later, me and a buddy took off to Nashville for a week. So we've always just loved country.
You didn't go to the beach?
Didn't go to the beach. We went to Nashville. So, I always loved country music. So, I just always wanted to do it. And so finally had the opportunity to make it happen, and made it happen. So, let's see what will come of it.
Well,
So.
It looks to me like you've been being pretty successful. Quite a bit of. Now, when did you actually open?
About a year and a half ago, August of 2023. So,
23, yeah.
So August 2023, we like I say, I love country music. So my first show was on Georgette Jones, which is George Jones and Tammy Wynette's daughter. So I wanted to start it off.
That was pretty big.
Yeah, so I wanted to start it off and say, hey, we're gonna start off with the country music royalty there. So and I had a couple friends, Steve Smith and Terry Chicken Man Campbell, Brandon Smith. They opened up for they local, and I named the place Fiddle and Bow in honor of Mac McGahey, who was
That was a local personality, right?
He was from Honea, and he was Porter Wagner and Dolly Parton, all the fiddle player, all Dolly's original.
Right? And he was
the dancing fiddle man. So if you go back and look at him on YouTube or watch the old Porter Wagner show, he was the fiddle man that was dancing everywhere. So he's from Honea, and his nephew, who was real close to him, Steve Smith, him and Chicken Man, they run my bluegrass jam for me, and they'll be there tonight at 6:00. And I actually had Mac's silhouettes in my logo, so that's kind of named it in honor of him. But Steve Smith, his nephew, was actually the first person to sing on stage. He opened up. He sung as the opener for Georgette Jones. And when I was remodeling the place, Steve walked in the door, and I'd seen him around before. I knew who he was, but we didn't know each other. and I had an old piano that somebody dropped off there while I was remodeling. And he's a fabulous piano player. And he sat down at that piano, and he played my favorite song. And it just blew me away. I could not believe it happened.
What's your favorite song?
Hank Williams' "House of Gold."
House of Gold.
And so that's I got a lot of favorite songs, but that's the favorite. And so that was like, wow, I cannot believe out of all the songs he could have picked.
Now, was the piano tuned?
No, the piano.
I was going to say.
It don't matter when ain't Steve.
He can blank it out there.
Oh, yeah, he can make it happen even on a bad piano. So, but yeah, so that was just kind of like, wow. In honor of Mac, I let him open up, and Mac's son actually come up to surprise him, and Mac's son came down from Nashville, Tennessee, and surprised us, and he sung a song. Mac actually wrote the country standard that's been sung by everybody for decades. I know you married, but I love you still. And so Mac actually wrote that. So Steve and his cousin, who's Mac's son, Perry Wayne McGahey, they actually got up there and sung "I Know You Love Me, but I Know You Married, but I Love You Still." So
well,
yeah.
It's a fabulous, fabulous, small, intimate venue. I was so impressed when I came up there, and I've got to admit I haven't made it back up there, but I've seen some of the talent. Now, how do you get this type of talent to come through there? Because you've had some pretty big names come through.
I make a lot of grits, and I take that money and I pay them a lot of money. There's the secret.
The secret is grits.
I grind a lot of grits. So y'all keep eating grits so we can keep having good music, right? So, but yeah, they asked to see. I tell people it's my favorite non-profit organization there.
The Fiddle and the Bow.
Fiddle and Bow Music Hall, yes. But I know, so, and we have
your prices are very reasonable.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I
keep my prices as low as I can possibly do. We have shows from, like I said, we do free Tuesday night Bluegrass Jam, and but then we do some local folks $5 Friday night. Sometime this past week we had a girl from Greenwood, Madison Medlin, and she done a great job. Brought her whole band with her, and she's country, does some country and some worship music. She's a worship leader at a church, and helps with worship at a church, and she does some country stuff, and then she done a great show of the night. But she done a $5 Friday night, so it was $5, and and even some of our biggest talents. We've had Grammy Award winner, we had Jim Lauderdale and the Game Changers, which is one of the best bands you'll ever hear in your life, and it was only $40. 115 people. So we try to keep it very reasonable. This weekend.
Well, that's hard. From a business standpoint, that's hard to make money from.
Oh yeah.
Really.
That's right. Yeah. So we try to just keep the doors open.
I know you do. Well, I know you do, and I know you're doing a great job at it. But you've got limited seating.
Right.
And you don't want to make the price outrageous because then people won't come.
That's right.
But the night we were there were people from Greenville, Simpsonville. You're getting a lot of traffic from up in that area.
I had the other night. We done a Sunday matinee, 3:00 matinee, with a Americana duo, which is one of the most phenomenal duos I've ever heard, called Gold Pine. If you have not heard Gold Pine, look them up. They actually sung the national anthem for a Kansas City Chiefs football game.
Wow!
And Cassie is the wife of the duo. It's a husband-wife duo. I've never heard a voice. She is phenomenal. But we had about 60 there Sunday afternoon, and I would say 50 of them drove an hour or more away. And so we had people from just that one show, people from Saluda, North Carolina, Spartanburg, Inman, Central, Clemson, had folks from Greenwood up there. So, people's coming from all over. I've had people come to see from Charleston. I asked them. I had one concert. Somebody come from Plains, Georgia, for a 7 o'clock at night concert.
Wow.
And then turned around and went after it.
And there's not a lot of hotels up there
They
now.
ain't hotels. No. I put some people up time to time. I got some spare bedrooms, but no, there's no hotels. So we'll find you a place to sleep if you need to sleep that bad. So.
But it is a really cool place, and the ambience in the place is what really makes it special.
Yeah,
I think.
thank you.
Yeah, you've done a great job. It puts the emphasis on the music. Now, how do people, just before we leave this subject and go on to something else with the Renaissance man here, how do people know about this? How do people get tickets? How does this work?
All right, so we sell our tickets through Eventbrite.
Okay.
You can purchase them at the door, but we do pre-sale everything on Eventbrite, and so Eventbrite's pretty cool in the fact that you can sign up for emails, notifications. You can search by towns or search the Fiddle and Bow and follow the Fiddle and Bow, so they keep you updated and pretty good. And when we put stuff out there, and then you can also call me at 864-940-2254. And then we have a Facebook, so if you'll follow the Fiddle and Bow Music Hall, we got that. Got a website, fiddleandbowmusichall.com. And so multiple ways there. I'm not a social media guy myself. I got a guy that does all that thing for me. I think he's got an Instagram, and I don't know what else, but I'm pretty sure there's an Instagram out there. I've never personally seen it, but he talks about it. So and I have seen some of the Facebook stuff that people show me, but but yeah, so multiple ways to keep in contact. And if you if you old fashioned and don't like any of them ways, just give me a call. I'll tell you what's going on. So.
Now you've got a good show coming up with Valentine's.
Yeah.
What do you got coming up?
Yeah, so got Gail Jenkins. She's an Atlanta, Georgia artist. She is, if you like traditional country music, she is a traditional country. So I mean, she is one of probably the best, purest country voices I've heard in a long, long time as far as traditional country women's voices. And she's coming, got a bandmate with her, and they're going to be doing some country love songs and duos, and we're going to have
What date is that?
Dinner. That's Valentine's Day.
Friday night?
Yeah, and then, so yeah, got a lot.
Are you doing a dinner too?
Yeah, spaghetti dinner. Need to pre-buy tickets for that though. So that's the only show that won't not just show up at the door. So we need to
well, you
pre-buy.
can show
Very
up,
limited.
but you can't get dinner.
Very limited. Very limited. Yeah, probably.
So
not.
who's cooking?
Probably me and my mama.
Okay, all right. You told me your mama was a good Southern cook.
She is one of the best thing cooks you ever eat. She actually makes a home cooked meal for the artists when they come, and they just rave and rave and rave. So
that's how you're getting people here.
That's right. That's right.
It's not your venue.
Yeah,
it's
Georgette Jones told somebody she'd come back to Honea Path just to eat. So yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, it's the food.
That's right.
Yeah,
So.
They used to have, what was it, the chicken tours or whatever, where that they traveled, the blues artists.
Oh,
did.
Chitlin.
Yeah,
Chitlin
circuit. Places that had really good food were always really popular
that's
to go
right.
to.
That's right.
Yeah. So, but that's pretty cool. That's cool. It is amazing to me how things that are old are actually new again.
That's right.
Because this type of venue, what you do over there, is not old. I mean, it's not new. It's actually an old concept brought back again.
That's right. Yep.
And what do you serve over there? You serve soft drinks and...
Yeah. Now, we typically don't serve food. Sometimes we'll have food trucks.
Okay.
We do, all kind of snacks. Moving pies and your colas and your root beers.
Yeah,
and
the old stuff, right?
That's right. And, crackers and chips and candy bars. And don't serve alcohol, so a lot of people ain't ask that. It is a family-friendly environment, and for the most part, I mean, sometimes the entertainment, you never know what somebody's gonna sing or,
right.
but for the most part, it's always very family-oriented, and so everybody's real respectful, and so and
well, you even have a green room over there.
Yep, got a green room.
Because I interviewed Marty in the green room.
Yeah,
It was very comfortable.
Yeah, try to make things good for the artists and really be hospitable to them when they come. So
yeah. Now, I think you're doing a great job, and I'm sure that the word is out across the country music, particularly in roots groups, saying,
"Oh yeah, I get people call every single day. I have people wanting to come play. So that's where we find a lot of this thing. A lot of our talent that we find is they call, and I've got people booked now from Australia. We've got I've had people from Nova Scotia. I mean, and so people hear about us and want to come and play. So we get some unique stuff out there. Mostly, like I say, I love traditional country. Do a lot of bluegrass, some gospel, and blues. A lot of Americana. I guess we fall into Americana folk music. So any kind of roots music. Even got an indie rocker this weekend, Friday night.
An indie rocker?
Indie rocker. Yeah. So she wanted to come, and I said, well, it's not really in our wheelhouse, but hey, if you don't want to sit in a hotel room on Saturday night, you need somewhere to fill in. Well, she had a good sound to her, and she does an acoustic show, and she's live energy. So live energy. So I really enjoy it. It's like I say, not our typical stuff, but y'all come out if you into a little indie rock, nothing too crazy, just a little faster and a little louder than what we usually play. So she's going to be out there, but it is going to be a acoustic show, and it's just a solo gig.
And how much are the tickets going to be?
I think she's $10.
$10?
Yeah.
I mean,
she's touring. She's touring the nation, and so and doing.
She had an empty space there, and you had the time.
There you go. Hey, well, she wanted to be there. We'll let her. So.
Well, I think that's great. So if you have been looking for a unique place to go, whether you go as a family or just as a couple or as an individual, it is a very cool venue to go. And once you go once, you'll go back.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So it's called the Fiddle and Bow. And what's that telephone number, Justin?
864-940-2254.
So this is what you need. And it's up in, believe it or not, in Honea.
That's right. Everybody seems shocked by that. That little hidden gym tucked away in Honea. That's right.
Yeah. Now, you're getting ready to do something else up there. You've got another building.
Yeah, I got another building. We're fixing to start looking at fixing up the building next door, and hopefully using it as some kind of entertainment space, maybe dealing around food. So there'll be hopefully some food options, and maybe some pop-up. I got a lot of relationships with my grits, and so people like Erica Macero, who's a state ambassador chef for the state of South Carolina. She owns Indigenous Underground down in Abbeville. She wants to do some pop-up stuff with me, and got some other friends.
So having a place just to be
able to do
it.
Bring in some catered food and have a meal before the show, and
that'd be nice.
Hang out, and maybe ice cream show. Just kind of throw some ideas around and get some things hustling and bustling around Main Street there. Yep.
The Honea Path.
That's right. Make it uptown, like uptown Greenwood down here. That's right.
There you go.
That's it.
Well, what was Honea Path as far as history? What was the import of Honea Path?
Well, so it's been around a long time. It was chartered in 1855. It was first European settler was there in late 1700s, 1790s, I think 1794. And so David Greer. And so, but trains, obviously train came through in the 1800s, and that
did they have a mill over there?
That solidified it. And in 1903, Shakola Mill opened up.
Okay.
And it was a cotton mill town, and at one point, 90-something% of people in town was at the cotton mill, and it's infamous from the mill strike that happened in 1934. Where 7 folks got killed at the mill strike.
In Honea Path?
Yeah, so it's pretty infamous part of history there. that mill strike led to 40-hour work week and child labor law. So really historical.
Did it really?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
That's a topic that can be discussed for 4 or 5 hours.
Wow.
But yeah, so pretty infamous cotton mill there, Chicola Mill. But yeah, that was the main. It ran for 100 years, and that was so it was a cotton mill town. So yeah.
Well, that is pretty neat. Well, as we're going to transition now, though, and talk about some of the other things that Justin does. He does art. He has his grits. He drives around in an old VW bus, and he's just got a lot going on. And we're going to talk more about that. But right now, we are going to hear a word from our sponsors that makes all this possible. And if you are on Facebook with us, we are going to have music going on. If you're on the radio, you'll hear some commercials. We'll be back. If anybody has a question, 864-229-7984. You can text us, 864-229-7984. We will be right back. So don't you go away, right here on WCRS Radio. Don't go away. We'll be right back. We're right back here at WCRS Radio. How you doing this afternoon? We're having a great time. New time frame for WCRS is Meet Me at the Diner, 5 to 6. So if you're joining us for the first time, I hope you're enjoying it on the radio. And we are here with Justin Atkin, and he is the owner of the Fiddle and Bow over there in Honea. But there's so much more. That's just the start of what Justin is all about. And, I always find it interesting how somebody gets into the things that they get into. And, not only does he love country music and decided to have his own venue, not many people do that, but he also is an artist. And so, Justin, I would be real curious how you got into your country folk art.
Yeah, so I'm known as a Southern folk artist, or some people call us self-taught artists, or even outsider artists. And so outsider, yeah. So we're not it's outside the realm of your typical fine art and what you would typically think of when you think of art galleries and all. So in the past they've even labeled us outsider artists.
Sounds like an outlaw.
Yeah, there you go. Well, it's kind of it. Some people look at my art and turn their nose up a little bit. I tell people it's an acquired taste, kind of like fatback, right? Collard greens and such. So I've always liked to do any kind of art stuff. I had a maternal grandmother who was a self-taught artist as well, and she would always be painting and stuff, and so I was around her. We'd go see her every Saturday. She lived in Anderson at the time, and then we would ride up there and spend the day with her. Me and my mama, just about every Saturday, and a lot of times she'd be painting and stuff. And I've actually, she passed away over 20 years ago now, but I got in the Fiddle and Bow. I got one of her paintings. Ironically, the only painting I have of hers that survived, or that I ended up with as an adult that we have in my family now, is actually of a gristmill.
Really?
And it was a childhood memory of hers of her local gristmill. She would have been born in the late 1929 or so,
right?
And it was the name of a water wheel gristmill that so it's very fitting. So I have it hanging in the Fiddle and Bow that she had painted from memory. So.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so,
cool.
self-taught artist means we had no schooling of, didn't go to art school. Nobody taught us how to paint or anything.
So did you used to do projects with her, or she'd be painting and she'd say, why don't you paint, something like that?
Yeah, we'd always, she was very loving and affectionate. So, I've always just messed with stuff. I've actually done some glassware. I can do some stained glass stuff, and so
So you brought some pieces here.
Yeah,
why don't you show us what you got here? Yeah.
So I think you got one over there, don't you? You still got that one? No.
You got
that.
Yeah.
So this is
upside down. There you go.
There we go. So this is typical what I'm known for. I usually do larger than this. I like large pieces. So a lot of them's at least 2 to 3 foot wide, 4 foot wide, and then some of them's even 9 foot wide, 9 by 6 I do a lot of. But I like to tell stories. I love history. I love family stories, and so I like to tell stories a lot. So this is typically what I do. I'll draw something out, paint something out, and then actually paint a story, write it out.
Right, now you paint it. It's with a paintbrush. It's
right.
not a marker or something here, folks.
Yeah, that is a little bitty tiny paintbrush that I ain't painted on there. And if I make a mistake, I just put that little tick mark in there and write it in there wherever to fit. So it's and so I love to tell stories. This was one about my mother. She was a little girl.
She's the one in the pink there, I guess.
They lived on a little dirt road, and right on the Abbeville, right inside Abbeville County line, on the Anderson-Abbeville County line off the U.S. Highway there, and the old dirt road's still there where my Aunt Ruth lived, and she would go out there. They had a granite rock table, big old slab of granite. They made a table, and they would feed the convicts that would come and take care of the road. They had a chain gang crew, and my mama used to talk about that. But my aunt and my uncle would feed the convicts as they every day when they'd work on the road whenever they was in the area. So feed them fried chicken and biscuits and gravy.
So they probably look forward to that meal. Yeah, there you go. Let me go out and work on the roads. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, that's one of her childhood memories.
So that's why it's the rock table.
She wouldn't tell me. Yeah, the rock table. So that old rock table was there all through my childhood, and still down there. My Aunt Ruth passed away now. She lived to be 90-something years old, and we were real close, and she's probably been gone about 10 years, but that old rock table always stood out there in her yard. Yep.
Wow.
And
wow.
So, yeah, and here's a kind of fun piece.
Now you go to shows. You sell it in your place, but you also go to shows.
Yeah, I do some. I do two of the largest folk art shows. I'm a Finsterfest artist that's at Paradise Garden in Somerville, Georgia, which is the home of Howard Finster, who was the most famous folk artist to ever live. He was, you can look him up. He's just huge. He done some album covers for REM and Talking Heads, and he's been, I know old country band Black Hawk has a song about him, and so just real special one guy. But his house and he's got a art environment that's on the National Historic Register of Places, and you can go to it. But they have a big festival every year called Finsterfest, and there's about 60 of us artists and this there. And then that
has to be a pretty big honor.
Oh yeah, it is. This is super. That's probably my biggest honor in art for me. From a folk art as a folk artist. Yeah, that's
huge, because I'm sure it's hard to get into that show.
Oh, yeah. Once you get in, you just kind of like somebody's got to go away for you to.
How long have you been doing that show?
I've been in there 3 years. So,
3 years,
yeah. So it's real.
And you have to submit your art, I'm sure,
well, they actually come and ask me. So when they came
and asked you to be part of it.
Yeah, and so
wow.
So yeah, and so like I say, and it's kind of like you just gotta, once you get in, you just kind of stay there till you can't stay no more, and then you just don't want to give up that spot.
Right.
And then one we do have to submit art to, and juried art show is Kentuck, which is down in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, and it's probably the largest. There's over 20,000 visitors come to it in a 2-day period, and it has about 300 artists, and I think it brings about $5-6 million to Tuscaloosa, Alabama, for a 2-day event. And so I'm also a Kentuck artist, and actually done last year. I actually done Artists in the Schools program with them, where I went into the schools and the little elementary school and done art with the children, with a bunch of third grade classes.
That's cool.
Yeah, so about 150. I think third graders. So yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
So this in fall, October, and so that's a pretty big one. So yeah, and I do others. I just last week or so ago, I done one in Cramerton, North Carolina, with a musician friend. There's a real famous Americana group, David Childers and the Serpents, and his son plays drums. Robert, he put on an art show. And so it was me and a bunch of punk rockers, and we had a great art show though up there in Cramerton, North Carolina, and so yeah. So
tell us about this one right here. It's very cool.
This is kind of fun one here. I like owning a country music venue. I like to use country music lyrics a lot, and one of my favorites was the Louvin Brothers.
Right.
And they had a song called The Great Atomic Powers. Are you ready for the great atomic power? Will you rise and meet your Savior in the air? Will you shout or will you cry when the fire rains from on high? There's one way to escape it. Be prepared to meet the Lord. Give your heart and soul to Jesus. He'll be your shield and sword. So that's lyrics from them, and I was listening to them, and that's what come out. Elvis with rhinestones, riding a dinosaur, like hummingbirds. So
and a pink Cadillac.
Yeah, I hopped in the pink Cadillac, leaving this world where the atomic bomb went off there, and
hummingbird.
Hummingbirds.
What's Waffle House got to do with this?
I just like Waffle House. My little boy, my little children, they just absolutely love the Waffle House, and I think we had went to the Waffle House that night, and they played a jukebox, and they wild little fellas when they go to. That's about the only place I can take them. You know what I'm saying? That they don't disrupt everybody's meal.
Right.
And so I said, I got home and I said, well, I had an empty spot. So I said, well, let's just put Waffle House there, right?
Well, what is folk art? What is folk art?
Oh,
what is the
goodness.
definition of folk art?
I don't know. You're getting deep now.
Well, I'm not too deep. I mean, I was trying to understand here.
I don't know. I think it's a lot to do with just passed down ways. Just nothing really. I guess, for lack of a better definition, nothing necessarily professionally educated about it. It's passed from your family. A lot of stuff falls into it: pottery, basket weaving, painting, just quilting. I mean, anything kind of falls into that realm, and it's just that you've picked it up from your kin folks, and it's not necessarily mainstream. It's tied to the culture.
Right.
A lot of it's, Southern culture, and I mean, it ain't all Southern. I mean, there's
we have a little culture up north too.
Yeah. So, I mean, but then you got Mexican folk art, and you got so it's just kind of, I guess, homey.
Okay,
Kind of cultural, homey. I guess you'd say. You get down toward the coast, and you got the Gullah art, and
sure,
and we all kind of run the same circles. It's just
so all of that would be considered folk art. Okay.
Right? Yeah. And like I say, it's typically, typically it's not educated in the school in a school, higher education environment or anything. It's just comes out of you, whatever, however you can do it.
That's cool. Now tell me, we were having a discussion before we went on the air about how you charge for these pieces, because as an artist, I understand that's one of the hardest things is to come up how much to charge for it. Some people have overstated value of their art, and others undervalue it. So to come right there in the middle or something, how do you do this?
So for me, I actually sell a lot of art, and I've got ideas of what I typically charge for it, or ask for it. What's unique, man? I get fussed at by a lot of artists. This makes a lot of people ticked at me, but I don't really price my art. I love to talk to people. I love to meet people.
No, I never would have gotten that.
And so my art draws a lot of people in, and it opens up a lot of conversations. And so you can tell in about 10 seconds who really loves your art, who thinks you're crazy, or who thinks, it ain't for me, or whatever. And if somebody really loves it, it's going to go home with them. Like, money is never going to be a dictator. I don't do that to make a living. I just do it because I love to do it. I got to get it out. At one time,
you got to get rid of some.
Yeah, if it was up to me, I wouldn't get rid of any of it. I love doing it. I love them. I love to keep them. I like little children, But my wife, you got to get all this mess out of the house. She don't always see the beauty that I see in it, right? And so I have to peddle it from time to time, and so I have people, I give them a starting point, and then we'll dicker on it, and sometimes they'll give me more than I'm asking, sometimes they'll give me less. Sometimes I'll swap them for whatever they got in their pocket. We'll play games.
Don't you have a list of 250?
Yeah. I keep a list at all my art shows. So we'll trade for grits and art, and it's everything from U.S. Confederate gold, anything, belt buckles, cowboy boots, old records, cotton mill junk, a cannon from a front.
So it's a trade. It's a swap and shop.
Pet monkey named Leroy, about anything you can think of. And I actually had at Kentuck, this girl was reading it, and she pulled out a little teddy bear out of her pocket, and she said, "Would you trade this for it?" Because put anything in your pocket beside pocket lint. And I said, "Sure, pick you out a piece of art." And she was just shocked. And so she got her mama a piece of art, and I've got a little teddy bear that rides around in my Volkswagen bus. So I figured that was a very special teddy bear, and she'd been toting around in her pocket for a long time. So I'll trade. I love for people to take the art home and get it out, like I say. So I just constantly like moving. I paint every day, so just about every day. I do some painting. So
as far as a job, what is your job? What would you say your job is? I mean, we got this venue over here. It doesn't look like you're making a lot of money over there.
I take the kids to school. I got a sugar mama. No, you can tell I'm so good looking. I just picked up a sugar mama.
Hey, good looking. Yeah, okay.
So I'm actually retired as I was a facilities manager at the Career and Technology Center in Williamston, which was a school. And so I'm retired, so I get a check from the state, and then supplement that with the grits, and the grits actually do make money.
Okay, so, that's why I was going to
actually, and the art makes some money, and so so that's I'm a professional piddler and loafer.
Piddler and loafer.
I do stuff, little odd stuff from time to time, but that's it.
Open for making a deal.
But that's right. I did retire from the career center. So I started when I was real young.
You must have.
I was 17 years old, and the day I graduated high school, I went to work full time, 6 o'clock the very next morning as a state employee. So
wow.
And so so the minute I could hang it up, I hung it up.
You hung it up. Okay,
I ain't one of these that lingered on forever. I was like, they could pay me, or I could keep paying into the system. I'll just start taking it. So, so there you go. So,
Well, we did have a nice comment come in from Judy. She says, Justin, thank you for bringing interesting venue and art to Honea Path. My husband's home place is there, and our daughter, Jennifer Bedenbender, lives there.
Oh, I know Jennifer. Yeah,
you know
good friends.
Jennifer?
Yeah, good friends. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Judy is a good friend, and she's always
I worked with her grandson. when I was at school, yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, so there you go.
Awesome. Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. So as we talk more about this, so the art is an interesting... Now, so do you go in your Volkswagen bus when you go to the art shows?
Yeah, and I can sleep in. I have the back seat lays into a little bed, and so I can sleep in it, haul all my stuff in it, and so I've painted it up, and it's an eye catcher.
It's got lots of wording on the side
got
of it.
folk art all over it. So I just come out the shopping center a while ago here in Greenwood, and people ain't talking about it. So so I had to.
1971, right? Is that what you said?
That's
1971,
right.
One of the old ones. Yeah, that's cool. I think they're pretty cool. They're really cool when you look back. At the time, they didn't seem like they were that cool. When I was growing up, I think I told you before we went on the air, we had one, and we would go about 70 miles to the orthodontist, and it did not have heat. And in Maine, you need heat. And we'd wrap up in all these blankets to make it there.
I get so many, I said a long time, I should have wrote a book about all the stories. Everybody just about has a story. If you was living in that time period, you have a Volkswagen and bus story. And I've heard some great ones. I mean,
I'm sure.
I have heard some great stories. So every gas station I stop at, I get a new Volkswagen story. So, yeah.
They were always breaking down, too.
Oh, yeah. A lot of times I'll have to work on it to get home. So, yeah. So. Yeah.
Well, that's cool. Now, before we get out of here, which we're almost out of time, but I wanted to talk about your grits because they are, I guess we could say they're area famous.
I guess so. I hope so.
So, you actually, how did you end up into grit grinding?
So I'd starve to death if I didn't eat grits growing up. So I ate grits
you don't look like you'd starve to
death.
So I think people can tell.
I ate grits about every morning growing up. So I always loved grits, but years ago, I volunteered up at Hey Good Meal some and helped with the grits up there. And anyway, I had a particular Grits Woods cornmeal who was out of Pelzer area off of Highway 25. I just really liked his grits a lot, the way he done it. He had a little different way of doing it than anybody else. And I just thought he had the best grits in the world, so I always ate his grits. And I'd buy them at McCall's Produce there in Honea Path, which is now East Greer Street Market. But I'd go over and get my McCall's sausage and some eggs and my grits, and that was my thing. And one day Mike McCall there told me, said he's going to he's going to close down. He ain't got nobody pass it to. He's looking for somebody to sell it. He's wanting to get out of the grits business. And it'd been making grits on that property in the Woods family and Randy King that was making them now. On that property over 100 years. And the Stones, was over 100 years old. And so it was kind of one of those tradition things. And there's nobody left to take it over. So he give me Randy's number. And I said, hey, basically it was, I don't want to lose my grits, you know what I'm saying? So like, we've lost so much of our good things, over the decades. I was like, I can't, I can lose a lot of things. I can't lose my grits. So I just bought a grits company and started making grits. So I went over there. I moved all the stuff, took the mill down and moved everything to Honea Path and started grinding there in Honea Path. And so kept his little secret. Ain't really a recipe, but his secret way that he done things. He showed me everything, the way he done it, and kind of kept things.
So they taste the same as they did when he was doing them
Yeah.
now. You've been able to continue.
Yeah, yeah. Everybody we sell a lot of grits. A lot of restaurant. Well, the pantry sells them here in Greenwood. So make sure you go by the pantry and get them. And then Indigenous Underground's a big seller. They serve them in their restaurant, Grits and Groceries, various restaurants, but they're all over the upstate and Honea Path over to East Square Street Market. Happy Cow, Greenville, Fountain Inn. Yeah.
Happy Cow.
Happy Cow sells a lot of grits. They are one of my biggest folks there. So
that afford the other habits that you have.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. So I love to tell people they're all they whole grain. That's one of the big things different about like store-bought grits. And a lot of people don't realize like store-bought grits, they actually degerm the corn. The germ is the part of the corn kernel where the vitamins, mineral nutrients are. They actually degerm them. And so they take that and like put it in animal feed. And so then
the animals are getting the good stuff
and
out
then
of it.
they have to enrich. So if you look at your grits from the box stores, say enriched grits, that means they had to put stuff back in them, like vitamins, minerals back in it. Oh yeah. And so mine are not like that. Mine is where you take dried corn and you grind it and you got a whole grain product. So you get everything that's in the corn, so it adds flavor and it adds nutrients, and so that's what a grits and cornmeal is. Cornmeal's just finer, ground up finer than the grits, but yeah, so you getting just ground corn, whole grain.
And what do you sell them under in this area?
That's Atkin Milling Company.
Atkin Milling Company.
Yeah, Atkin. Yeah, and we ship them. I ship them. There's a lot of places, they'll say we don't have grits and wherever, Maryland or wherever they at, Colorado.
You cross the state lines with them?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah. I mail them all over. And I actually have some people, they pick them up when they visit them family down here and taking them back to stores up north and stuff. And so,
oh, okay.
Yeah, so I sell them at my art shows a lot, and people try them and then they can't get them because they see me in Alabama or they see me in Georgia or North Carolina.
Right.
And so then I have to start shipping it to them and stuff. So.
Now, you told me that your mom actually, puts the labels on the bags.
Yeah.
And then you actually sew the...
Oh, yeah. So I do everything. Yeah, I used to label them, and finally, Mama started doing it and on the labels. But, yeah, so we do everything. I grind the corn, weigh it out, put it in the bag, put the labels on the bags, sew the bags. They look like little feed sacks. Mm-hmm. And so the tops of them are sewed. And so I got a sewing machine, and I sew all the bags, and then I deliver them to the stores. And
you really are a Renaissance man.
I don't know about it.
Yeah, no. I think it's terrific, and I think we need more of that in this world. You're right, we've lost so many things.
That's right.
So to
agree.
keep that alive as a dying art with your folk art, that seems to be a natural, and then we've got the pecans in this area, some of the pecan places, and this type of stuff. There really is a market for that. And, we talk about, what do they talk about? Grown SC,
That's right.
They try to...
Oh, yeah, and I'm actually one of the, label, I'm part of that. So anytime you see South Carolina products, see that little label of South Carolina products or South Carolina grown, definitely support it because that means it's being made and right here in South Carolina. And there's a lot. If you've never been on the South Carolina Department of Agriculture's SC Grown website, it will blow you away to go on there and just look at how many products are actually made. Even in the Greenwood, you can go by county and it'll blow you away at how many farms, how many beef and pork and
and little businesses.
Oh yeah, little business. Oh yeah, I know folks all over the area. You can about get everything. I mean, you can get your milk, your cheese, your eggs. There's so much that you can get, and they're all natural and they're supporting local folks and it's a different way of life. Yep.
It is. Well, Justin, this has been absolutely a fabulous hour spent together here at Meet Me at the Diner. So I think this was a win here this afternoon. I do want you to give the folks your telephone number, and let's just tell them one more time let's see, what have you got going on this week at Fiddle and Bow, and then what your Valentine's special is so people will know.
Yeah, and so we got a indie rock. Patty Pershela, she's gonna be there Saturday night, and then Valentine's we got traditional country music, Gail Jenkins and Joey Garland, and so fabulous country music duo having a meal, spaghetti dinner, and
that's for Valentine's Day,
right? And then one country, you play traditional country on Saturdays. One I'm really excited about coming up that we're selling a lot of tickets for. It's in March, but it is Wayne Hancock, and he's coming out of Texas, very popular. Especially 20 years ago, has had a lot of big hits come out, Texas honky tonk type music.
Oh, I like the honky tonk.
Oh yeah, it's reminiscent of Hank Williams. If you hadn't heard Wayne the Train Hancock, check him out. He is as traditional country as you will ever hear. So really excited about him. So but you can go on our website, fiddleandbowmusichall.com, and go to Facebook, Instagram. You can email me at fiddleandbowmusichall@gmail.com. You can call me 864-940-2254. We tell people you can call from 7 o'clock in the morning to 9 o'clock at night.
Yeah, you always answer
Mama,
the phone,
that's
too.
right. Mama said not to call anybody after 9 o'clock, so don't call nobody after 9 o'clock. So, but yeah, so check us out on the web. We're pretty easy to find. The Fiddle and Bow Music Hall in Honey Path, and so Eventbrite list our stuff. You can pre-buy tickets and see all the upcoming shows on Eventbrite as well.
That's great. And it's a small, intimate venue, 115 people max. And if you ever go up there once, you'll be hooked. I'm sure you will. You'll want to go back and see something else. Not everything may be your cup of tea, but you'll find something up there that will pique your interest for sure. It totally is it is a throwback to a time that was more simple and more fun. So I think it's great.
Right. Thank you. Appreciate it.
And I am sure glad that we finally got together and had the time. If you are into traditional folk art, you need to check that out while you're there. But it is a blast, and the grits are excellent. So make sure you check out the grits, and the next time you're at the pantry, make sure you ask for them. Ask them where they're at, just something to make them say, oh, yeah, I heard it on the radio.
Oh, that's right.
That's right. Anything else you'd like to say, Justin, before we finish up here today?
I think that's it. I'll say hey to my babies, my wife Sarah, my little girl Elia, and my 2 little boys Faison and Ascari. So hey, baby.
Oh, that's right. That's right. This is pretty neat. And you will be able to go back and see this. It is on Facebook Live, so you'll be able to go back and watch it. You can share it. If you are watching here today and you'd share it for us, it really helps us get the word out about what we're doing right here on WCRS Radio. So, without further ado, I guess we'll finish up. It's 6 o'clock, so I know I hope you're going to have a good night. County Council should be in full bloom right now, so if you'd like to check out County Council, they are on YouTube, but this is going to do it for us right here at WCRS. Justin, thanks so much for coming out this afternoon.
Thank you for having me.
This is going to do it for us. We are going to say that this